All right. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We have our second AMA of this community AMA regarding our development updates. And we'll jump right into it. As you guys know, we have our weekly dev updates now with Carl. In addition to that, we have our own internal weekly mobile app dev updates as well. And everything is on track. We're progressing, expanding the team, have a lot of really exciting things in the pipeline right now in terms of the actual development of Unimoon application, as well as our layer 1 blockchain, which we are going to be forking of Solana. And it's very exciting because we've been working at this for about 1 month now, and we've had some very good positive movement forward. We're getting closer to finishing up the final end pieces of our front end application designs. We have incorporated very recently the design, the digital identity designs, and this is really exciting for us because this is something that obviously would be down the road in a full ecosystem in a decentralized social media network. It could be incredibly powerful to have having your own digital fingerprint that could be used seamlessly to integrate into other applications. Things that really offer a lot of convenience for you at home. But this isn't something that would be necessarily required. You could sign in with your own email, for example. You wouldn't have to incorporate your ID, your license, and things like that. We just wanted to be able to have that ability down the road in a fully developed ecosystem for a social media network. As many of you guys are very familiar with, like Facebook, Google, for example, you're able to do like a one-click login into many different accounts for other applications on the web. So we see this potentially becoming a way that you could have your own digital identity, your own digital fingerprint, utilizing Unimoon into many other applications on the web. But yeah, again, a lot of the reasons why some people really like crypto is because of the anonymity. So it's not something that would be required, but it's more of a convenience factor. We are also, in addition to expanding the actual development team, we're also expanding our own internal team. I'm looking at bringing on fractional chief marketing officer or a CMO, someone that would be a lot more focused specifically on marketing efforts, reaching out with influencers and getting really our roadmap set up when we are launching the actual product, because we're just a few months away from this, where we're actually going to be launching the MVP. So this is obviously very exciting for everybody here. For all of you guys that have been with us since the pre-sales, it's been incredible, and thank you guys for all of your support and being here, attending the AMAs and being active in the community. I know that for a lot of people here, it feels like like 1 month feels like 6 months in the crypto world, but what we're doing is really developing something that doesn't exist yet. I've said it many times before, this would be the natural progression in the cryptocurrency industry. We're putting two things that are in high demand and people use. It's just that not everybody is familiar with the blockchain. So we're pairing these things together, just like an iPhone, as Apple did, or like Tesla with cars and batteries. I like to use this analogy because these brands are also very inspirational for me in terms of like how to build the user experience, like how to focus the user experience for the Unimoon application. Like it's just when you interact with an iPhone, it's very sleek, it's very modern. Actually, like our social media designs. I know I've read a few mentions, like some people didn't like it, but like it was actually based around some of the home screens of the iPhone, the actual iPhone design. So it's like this screen. It was actually inspired by the Apple designs, but it's going to be impossible to satisfy everybody's preferences, right? Like everybody has their own preferences, but for us, we've been really inspired by Apple and Tesla. They've been juggernauts in terms of creating the right viral marketing and getting people to be really excited about the products. And that's really what we're looking to do here. We're building these products. We're getting closer every single day. We're working very, very hard, very diligently at getting everything set up for when we actually launch this. We've had a few hiccups along the way, but we're really building a lot of momentum. Every single day I'm waking up and I'm so excited to be able to deliver this application that is literally going to change the way we interact and use the internet, because of the blockchain. We're leveraging the blockchain and technology to increase the convenience and to have a better way to a fair distribution of value, being able to protect your privacy and your content. So we're getting a lot closer every single day. We have dates, a rough approximation for when these applications are going to be launched. But I'm very excited to say that I've been interviewing with a few fractional CMOs, which would be completely focused on a strategy, a strategic action plan, because we have been, as you guys all know, have been working with agencies such as Blockchain Pros and Sublime. We're still discussing in terms of what proper KPIs and et cetera, things like this would be as a mainstream marketing agency. So we're really looking to figure out exactly how to measure results, because that's really important, being able to measure the results in marketing. So I thought it would be best if we actually brought in somebody that does this, breathes, eats, sleeps marketing, for when we actually get this launched with our products. So I'm very excited to share that this is something that I've been working on, bringing on a CMO that has extensive background for primarily like startup tech companies that have that sort of skill set to be able to help drive this excitement upon our release of our products. So that's really what I'm trying to get everything lined up for. I know people come in I read a lot of the messages in the group chat. And I know there's a mixed amount of people coming in and there's comments and et cetera. But, just so everybody knows, there's been a lot of diligence and thought behind everything we're doing. We could take the entire marketing budget and spend it tomorrow on Jake Paul and Jay Alvarez, like these influencers. Like Jake Paul, for example, is $250,000 for 15 seconds of a post. I mean, we could spend this type of budget and not really reap the benefits of those marketing dollars that are spent on initiating such a type of marketing for the influencers and things like this. I think it would be much better to be a lot closer and to have a strategized execution on a well thought out plan for that really is set up for during our launch of our products. This is our main differential. This is our unique value proposition. This is really where all the utility and the excitement and the value of our project comes from. It's not just hyping up our name and getting a lot of people to know about it. When crypto people move very, very quickly, it's on to the next project. So this is the best way for us to be able to utilize and take advantage, full advantage of the marketing dollars that we have in reserve. So I am very excited to say that we do have a plan and we are going to be able to execute this, and it's going to be in congruence with our products that we're going to be launching very soon. So yeah, we have our weekly updates. This is something that we just wanted to incorporate. So, people in our community, you guys have been very patient. We're very appreciative for all of your support. You guys have been amazing to really be upon this project and be a part of this journey with us, because this is not an easy feat. I mean, this is a big deal what we're doing. But it's also very exciting, and it's very liberating to think that we can come together as a community and really be able to deliver something that could be exponentially create so much value in the world, to be able to literally just rewrite history with social networks. I mean, we all know the amount of influence and the amount of usage we are influenced by with social media networks, with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, like all these different social media networks. And so, to be able to really think that we're coming together as a community and we're able to build something together, this is very, very promising. It's very exciting for me. And I just wanted to thank you guys for all of your support, for being here, joining this AMA and listening to us, and really being a part of this. So that's one of the reasons why I thought it would be great for us to provide these weekly updates for you guys. So in addition to that, we have, as you guys have joined us today, these AMAs that we've already scheduled in advance. So we have 2 more of these in January. So we have our weekly updates, and then we will have our 2 additionally scheduled AMAs on January 7th, I believe, and January 21st. And we have, as you guys have, if you guys have been listening to us since our launch, you guys would have known that we also have brought on a data scientist. He has also 20 plus years in the industry, and he's worked with some very big corporations as well. So he has very extensive experience to be able to do exactly what we're looking for. There's a lot of different parts to this, right? We want to make sure that we have the familiarity for people to be able to use something that's very accessible, very easy to use, very sleek and intuitive. But we can't slack on also the functionality of the actual bones of our project, which would be the layer 1 blockchain, and then having that connectivity and the integration on top of the layer 1 with the end user application. But also a part of that would be the machine learning and the artificial intelligence, that data processing component of it. That's also very important as well, because if people put a piece of content on the network and the network doesn't have any way to track this data and understand what that means when people are liking it, and the network doesn't understand exactly how to start allowing other people to see similar content once you're interacting with this content, then it somewhat defeats the whole purpose of being able to have that virality component. And so we want to make sure that we have the proper incentive tools in place, so people, when they put a piece of content and they like it, or people are liking it and they're engaging with it, then the machine learning and the artificial intelligence side of this will be able to start recommending very similar pieces of content. And then that's where we have our calculations for the social activity coefficient. And this is what Carl is, really leading the charge for. We're building out a really strong team right now. And yeah, I'll let Carl jump in and talk a little bit more about that. But we essentially are working on the actual smart contracts that would be creating the social activity coefficient on our layer 1 blockchain. So that's the way that we're going to be able to utilize the machine learning and artificial intelligence side of Ryan, who's developing our own proprietary algorithm for the content that would be distributed on our network. So yeah, it's all very exciting. It's all coming together very, very, very nicely. And this is tech software. We're building, completely pretty much from the ground up. We're taking some existing tools, and we're utilizing these existing tools such as forking Solana, but still there is a lot of customization involved. There is a lot of really intricate details that we need to test on, make sure we have the right people, make sure that we're focusing on the right parts, making sure that we are delivering on what is uniquely going to create the most amount of value and make Unimoon and Umoon, the application, really fun to use and very intuitive. So there are a lot of parts that are moving together, but everything is moving along. We're progressing very nicely. We showed up, have the updates for the Umoon application. Carl and I had a brief call earlier with the mobile development team. And we are estimating that roughly in about a month from now, we will have probably our first very, very, very bare bones iteration of being able to show the application load up on a phone, something along these lines. Don't quote me on this, but we are working as fast as we can. If we could bring this out and we could have this launched yesterday, we would have. We're really not taking any more time than we need. We're literally just focusing on making sure that we build something that is beautiful, works very well, doesn't have any bugs. And again, Carl has a very, very solid background from building tech and building software. I mean, this is what he's done for also the past 20 years. So he's really focused on enterprise level projects. And so for those of you guys that come into the room and complain about, is there any news? Like, what's going on? We are working as hard as possible, looking to deliver this as soon as possible. We have deadlines in place. We have light at the end of the tunnel. It's really not that far away when you're focused on crypto within this industry, and you're looking at the price and you get so emotionally consumed. It might seem like a gazillion years, but really, it's nice. It's the holiday season. It's good to take some, enjoy your time with your family and have some eggnog. We're getting close to developing this beast, and we're very, very excited about it. So now I will let Carl take over and share a little bit more in detail about the development side of our project.
Yeah, and thanks, Dale. Beast is a good label for it, right? So, and I think it's important to recognize, and I have to pinch myself every once in a while because we're a unique project, right? The community's unique, sure, but it's a unique project. There's been a couple of handfuls of social media blockchain attempts in the past. Civil's one, Steemit's another. There's a few. They have various degrees of success. To my, you look over at the Velis ecosystem, there's a couple that are burgeoning over there. To my recollection, I've not come, and I'm not aware of every single project in crypto. There's thousands of them, right? And I'm not talking about just a couple of smart contracts, deployed to a chain counting as a project. I'm talking about like actual kind of concentrated, development and growth teams. I'm not aware of a social media blockchain project that's doing what we're doing. We're building a native app, right? There's a very, very small amount of projects out there that have built native apps that are not exclusively wallets. This is first and foremost, this is not a crypto project. This is not a wallet application. This is a social media application, right? We're trying to leverage a lot of lessons learned from the industry. We know people love TikTok in that modality. They love, IG in that modality. They love Snapchat in that modality. So we don't have to do a lot of product market fit there. And we're shamelessly copying some of those familiar modalities, right? That people are used to in using social media platforms. Being able to like a piece of content is a common modality. We don't need to re-engineer that, right? So those are the types of lessons learned that we're implementing. So we save time there, we can accelerate there. But I'm not aware of a social media blockchain project that also has its own L1, that also is bringing in some of this AI and ML out of the gate. So it is a beast of a project, right? But again, we're approaching it as an application project, a software project. It's not just exclusively a crypto project. I think it's a little, disingenuous to frame this as just a crypto project. Yeah, there's crypto aspects, but frankly, we're going to try to hide a lot of the nastiness around crypto from the user interfaces, things like that, right? You'll be able to browse your NFTs, inside the app, and have access to the NFT marketplace. But we're trying to hide a lot of the nasty stuff. You're not going to be connecting MetaMask to the marketplace, right? The experience is going to be pretty smooth. So that's really where our focus is. And over the next probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so during one of the dev updates, I'll kind of share more of a component model of things. I've shared the overall solution architecture of the project, but there's really, the way I'm approaching the team is there's some things that are kind of legwork, right? As far as creating a social media application, et cetera. There's legwork there, but there's not a lot of guesswork, right? There's just legwork work that needs to get done, and that the team's doing a fantastic job on that, right? And that's in flight. That doesn't take as much oversight now. But there, things with creating the L1, frankly, we're forking Solana and we're not making any structural changes to Solana right now for MVP. So we're getting all of that efficiency. That's in flight. That's going great. What we really need to do is we're approaching the phase of the project where we need to buckle down and focus on what makes us different, right? What makes us different is the algorithms, the smart contracts that feed into the social activity coefficient. In Solana, there's not a good Oracle modality inside Solana right now, right? The way oracles tend to work in other ecosystems, especially the EVM, is you have a third party, kind of a trusted service essentially that puts data on chain that's trusted, that can be integrated into transactions and referenced, right? The challenge with a lot of these kind of DAG-based and different blockchain consensus protocols is that when you start a transaction, you already know before you actually start executing the transaction, authoritatively when that transaction will end, right? It doesn't mean that it'll be successful, but you know what the gas limit is, you know it, and that's called determinism, right? The challenge with what we're doing and where we have to start focusing on over the next few months here is if you want to bring an oracle, a true oracle, into a blockchain kind of decentralized network, that means you really have a separate trusted authority. What that really should mean to build proper applications is that it's a service-based authority, right? It's not something that has to go on chain that's already old by the time you reference it, right? It's already expired. If it's not instantaneous, it's not recent, it's already expired. So oracles really aren't truly oracles. That it's not a dirty secret. It's just there's no way to do that and get things on chain. So what we're looking at doing is you can't call elegantly an actual third-party web service in the context of a deterministic transaction, because you never know. There's no guarantee on when that service response will come. So we've got to start experimenting, and this is part of the, part of the secret sauce. It's not just the algorithm development. It's how do we get the ML pipeline? How do we get that properly integrated with timely responses to some of these activity and on-chain calculations, right? We're starting to evaluate and experiment actually having programs run alongside the Solana validator. So a validator node would possibly validate the blockchain, but they would also validate an L1 parachain or a side chain that's within the Unimoon network ecosystem. That chain would possibly be the actual proxy between a PyTorch or a TensorFlow pipeline, et cetera, and actually pull that in. So there's a couple of architectural question marks still that we got to focus on. From a project delivery standpoint, it's so important to start with the known quantities, and especially customer-facing things or user-facing things, right? We want the users to have a great experience, and a lot of that's known quantities, the way you design applications. You work with marketing agencies, you work with user interface experts, making sure that the buttons have proper spacing, the color palettes, all of that stuff that, frankly, I consider boring. Dale really loves, but as he should, right? It's the end user experience. So, but it's something that has to be done, and we're pretty much past that. There's still iterations in the design for Unimoon going on, but it's 98% completed now. The iterations that are going on frankly, are going to be more visionary, more MVP based, post MVP based rather. So what things could look like in 6 months, 9 months later, et cetera. So we've got the basic branding guides done, and the implementations based on all of that. There's not going to be a ton of change there. The next probably 2 months, 2.5 months, we're really going to focus heads down on the L1, getting that stabilized. Again, DevNet's out there, but we need the testnet, right? The testnet's a multi-node cluster. How do we run these calculations in parallel? How do we get these Oracle-based data points? And, how do we get confluence with the on-chain transactions when we care about them? Right now we've got high-level specs for about 5 programs, Solana programs, that we're going to need to do these calculations. That's elastic. We may add some programs. We may bifurcate some of them. We may reduce them for MVP. But to accomplish that functionality, we have about 5 contracts right now that we're looking to write. That needs to get done. But also it's integrating the touch points in those contracts with the external oracles, right? We don't want to use legacy data. Even if it's 500 milliseconds old, it's legacy, right? So this is a challenge, right? And then we're one of the design edicts I have for the team is we cannot, under any circumstances, change the behavior of Solana. We're not looking to change the consensus mechanism or, how the, BPF is configured. We're not looking to do that. As a Solana team, and you'll hear me repeat this over time, like a broken record, as a Solana team makes innovations, as they make improvements, we want to be downstream directly and a very quick merge of any of those changes. We're making Genesis changes, we're making symbol changes, we're refactoring names of some binaries, and frankly, we're taking some inspiration from the Velas project as well, because they've done it already. They've done way more. They went in a totally different direction than we're going. But Velas has done a fantastic job. But they're looking to be more of an EVM compatibility layer on top of the Solana technology. They're doing a fantastic job. But they saw the value in Solana, just like our team saw the value in Solana as a backend. So SafeCoin's another one. They've done similar refactoring. So we're able to, the initial refactoring parts are kind of a known quantity. Again, that's legwork that the team's doing right now. But it's, we got to get past kind of this legwork, and we've got to get into the SAC algorithm like implementation. There's some POCs going on right now. They're not close to being finished, but there's a lot of experimentation going on for these algorithms, making sure that they're structured the way we want, they're performant, and we're getting what we need out of them. And then it's understanding how we plug in the ML pipeline in a timely fashion to get what we need out of there into the SAC calculations. It's a slow process, right? We measure things in sprints. Our sprints are 2 weeks long. It's going to take 4 or 5 sprints to go through all of that stuff and get something that's just functional, that meets our business requirements. So it takes time, but this is how you build things. So I think the community's been great. I love doing the 10-minute updates every week. I think that's a great way to be transparent and be educational as far as where we are in the project. And again, there was a very conscious effort to start with the mobile app development because everybody loves sexy things, and the mobile app is sexy. So that's the first thing that'll come down the pipeline to the community. You'll be able to touch it and feel it. The cadence I see is in January, probably mid to second to third week. You'll be able to see Dale install, a static mobile app on his phone. He'll be able to do some stuff with it, just kind of teasers, right? As we go forward there, it's going to be more meaty. The releases will be more meaty. Eventually leading up to our MVP release, which is a closed beta. But for that, we'll be releasing the apps to the App Store as well. So, it's going to be exciting Q1, right? It's going to be a race, but it's exciting. And again, there's some things we're trying to get efficiencies from and inspiration from other projects, from in the open source community. And we really want to focus our time and resources on the stuff that's I consider secret sauce, right? It's the algorithm development, it's the ML models, how we're training them, right? Our anonymous data scientist is going to help write some kind of test harnesses and simulators. So we'll be able to do a lot of simulation ahead of time. And I think that's one of the key things. And when you're working with big data is being able to simulate data sets. So all of that's coming. And these AMAs are great too. Love to hear from the community and answer questions where we can.
Yeah. So now I think it's a good time for us to open it up to our community. And since we have these weekly updates, the community has more transparency in terms of our development progress. Thanks, Carl. Let's take a few questions here. I'll just go down the list here. Satoshi, I am allowing you to speak. Go ahead. Hey there, Satoshi. All right, moving on. Sashin, go ahead. You are unmuted, Sashin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
All good. So, first question I wanted to ask is, what is exactly this social activity coefficient?
It's basically, you can find this information on our light paper, but just real briefly, it's a way to measure the amount of value essentially that you are contributing onto the social media network. Everybody puts content out onto the network, similar to the way it's set up on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, for example. But we have a way to measure this value, and therefore, based on this value, as set by the SAC, which would just be determined on the network, it would just be a calculation essentially of the amount of value in contribution that you're putting onto the network. You would receive an SAC value, and based on your accrued SAC value, you would be receiving the Unimoon rewards that would be sent to your Unimoon social media profile every something roughly like every single day. We're still deciding exactly what would make the most amount of sense, what would work in terms of our ecosystem. But we have been assuming that it would be measured every single day, and the distribution may or may not happen every single day, but it would be measured. The SAC value would be measured every single day, and based on that SAC value, you would receive Unimoon rewards.
So is there any way you can give an example in terms of numbers? So for example, if I post 100 photographs or a video on Unimoon app, so in terms of numbers, how much rewards would I receive?
Yeah, no, like it's not just going to be based on your quantity. It's really going to be based on the quality.
Okay.
So we had mentioned that we have also brought on a data scientist He is helping build out the specifics for the algorithm. Now, this algorithm is going to allow content, different media objects, videos, pictures, to be properly distributed on the net. When I say properly, I mean if you like a piece of content, that means that you have a certain preference to this, and the data is going to understand your behavior as a user, your account. And by tracking this user behavior, the network will be able to recommend similar pieces of content, so that you could essentially have more types of content that you like, because you want to watch what you like. And so we're creating the ability for you to be able to interact with more pieces of content that you like. And by doing that, the people that are creating the pieces of content are going to be rewarded with actual rewards. The way that we measure that is through the SAC. The SAC is going to be determined on the amount of variety, the content varieties that your piece of content receives. So it's not just if you put out 10 pieces of pictures and videos, you're going to get 1,000 Unimoon, right? It's not going to be based on how many, but how good is your content? How much do other people like your content? If you go into on a travel trip and you go into some unknown jungle and you start taking videos of some new crazy purple lizard and no one's ever seen this before, for example, then maybe people would really, really like this video. But maybe if you take a picture of the sun, there might be a million other pictures and videos like this where it's not really engaging for people. So you may not receive any rewards for that. It's really going to be based on the amount that people are engaging with your piece of content. And like, we are still developing this. We are going to need to test this out. But that's part of the testing phase as we build this. And that's also one of the reasons why I emphasized with Carl very early on that this is something that we need to start right now in tandem with during our build out with our application and our layer one. This isn't something that we should build out after we have these two synchronized together, because this is going to be a major component. Being able to properly, effectively measure how valuable is the piece of content that you put on the network, and how many points should the account that released this piece of content receive. There will be variables such as how consistent is this person putting out content? Did this person get lucky? Are they doing it consistently? Is the quality of this account very high? Or are they just putting out random pieces of content trying to game the system just to get rewards? We want to encourage and facilitate a network where people are able to be themselves and be able to share content that is personal and that is meaningful and that's engaging for other people. So that's really the focus. Like, the focus isn't how do I get as many rewards as possible, because we're going to also be developing a system that is not going to reward you for just thinking like that, but rather just allowing you to be human and have that extension of your humanity affecting other people and impacting other people with your opinions and with your point of view and with your creativity, contributing onto the network. We want to reward this. We want to reward the humanity. We want to reward the human side of these engagements, of the social networks, of the actual interactions that people have, the genuine interactions that people have. We want to support creativity. We want to support people that are more focused on diving into the art side of in a person's own life, and then being able to have an avenue to be able to properly execute and share this, and potentially be able to have an opportunity where they could maybe even just focus on that because of a social media network that is properly gauging what that value of those human interactions really are worth. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Dale. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Moving on, Cercius, I've unmuted you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of hard for me how to tell this, so I just made a text. So the way that Unimoon determines the value of the content from a user, will there be a difference set up, for example, between a regular popular guy, let's say Jake Paul, and then from someone, let's say a well-known scientist? Because there is a big difference between the value of these two people. A person who is a scientist would provide a different value of content in a way of educational purposes, right? And Jake Paul, for example, would bring value as a way of just laughter and comedy, something fun, but not really educational, right? So I was just wondering if it's possible to separate the types of value from the content.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. So out of the SAC work, right, once we kind of get deep into it and actually start developing the heuristics, I have some like hypotheses that I think we'll see, right? One is, you mentioned we'll use Jake Paul and a scientist like Neil deGrasse Tyson or something like that, right? So you look at Jake Paul, and one of my hypotheses is that volumetrically he's going to have several orders of magnitude higher engagement, right? And you'll be able to create subgraphs and network representations of that. Somebody like NGT, they're going to have engagement. Velocity would be similar. I expect the volume would be several orders of magnitude lower, right? So there's some of these hypotheses that we're going to develop, and you'll actually see them in the white paper. In the white paper, I apologize to the community. Frankly, it's kind of low priority with actually shipping stuff right now, but we're using it to capture notes and evolve and crystallize some of these thoughts over time, right? So what you'll see in the white paper is some of our hypotheses, and then some of the actual experiments and the heuristics that we put together to confirm or disprove them, right? So to answer your question, I do expect the data to inherently show, or information that we can pull out of the data inherently that says to assign properly the value, right? I don't know if it's our responsibility, and these are questions we talked about in the white paper, governance models and things like that. I don't believe as a project team it's our responsibility to judge people's content. Aside from, one of Dale's edicts is he wants to demonstrate the best of humanity, creativity, all that stuff, right? So there's some things that cross that line, physical violence, taking advantage of disaffected cohorts, whether it's younger cohorts because of age and lack of experience, or they're disenfranchised. There's some things there. There's lines you don't cross as a human being, right? However, when it comes to what's better, Neil deGrasse Tyson's content and his video about finding another planet and aliens, or Jake Paul's that he's going to beat some other dude up, it's not our place to judge, right? It's our community and it's the users, right? And it's really, how do we properly, without any bias, represent those different cohorts and that activity on the Unimoon network and bring it in and affect the SAC. And the key is to do it in an unbiased fashion, right? Aside from, there's those kind of, showing I think we need to actually document what the tenets of the project are, right? Showcase the best of humanity and the creativity, give creators a platform where they own the provenance of their creations, right? That leveraging digital identity to own the content they post and create, etc., from the entire supply chain of it, right? And then being able to accurately measure and affect content ranking in an unbiased fashion, right? So, and I think that's very hard. I think you look at what the social media industry has done over time. I truly, like, I try to lead with kindness and grace a lot of times, even though I can be very stubborn. I truly don't feel, you look at the Facebooks of the world and the Twitters of the world, I don't feel that there's malicious intent. I think organizations get to a particular size, they have different incentive structures, they want to get eyeballs, etc. And you see Jake Paul's content just naturally matriculate higher and have a broader reach than Neil deGrasse Tyson's. I don't think anybody intends it that way, but I think people start out with good intentions as engineers and organizations, and you end up with that. I think being able to transparently demonstrate that there's no bias in our platform, I think that's a key, right? So that you have those two different examples basically on a level playing field. I hope it wasn't too long-winded, but it's something that strikes close to home for our project.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Mix. I've unmuted you. Go ahead. Mix. Execution.
Hi. Hey, Dale and Carl.
Hey.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes. How will you encounter if there will be some abuse users using the application? Are we ready for any encounter, or how? What are we going to do, or is the system can detect if there's any abuse users, especially from the rewards?
Yeah, eventually we'll layer in automation around that, but automation only goes so far. So we're taking inspiration from the familiar modalities, right? So you look at Twitter or any of these platforms, there's a reporting mechanism if somebody's doing bad behavior with regards to content, right? And there's on the back end, all platforms have some automation, right? They'll call it AI or ML, but that's a percentage. And then there's humans that govern the rest, right, of the process. When it comes to transactions of like tokens, for example, we'll eventually layer in kind of anti-bot measures and fraud detection as far as, bogus transactions, things like that. There's a lot of things, especially in the blockchain transaction space. There's a lot of different kind of modalities we need to look at around fraudulent transactions. A big part of that, though, is that because the initial launch app is Unimoon, that's the only way to interact with the network, right? So there's really going to be a limited surface area for bad actors to programmatically interact with the network. They can decompile Unimoon and figure out some of the service calls. It doesn't mean that they're going to be able to execute them, because you still need a sovereign identity as an individual. If you want to create an army of 1,000 fake mobile app users, there's ways to do it, but it's not this easy, broad surface area where you can just open up dev tools in Chrome or Firefox and see all the XHR calls and kind of reverse engineer how to get an OAuth token. It's not going to be that easy, right? So yes, you could take advantage of the system programmatically, but there's really little to no benefit of doing it, right? And if we see those bad actors operating in quantity, right, they'll stick out like a sore thumb, right? So it's going to be very challenging. They'll be able to do it. I don't see any benefit for them to do that, though. So we won't have an answer on day one, but we'll layer in countermeasures over time.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Trump is our savior. Go ahead. Yeah, I've unmuted you. Trump. You there?
You hear me? My man.
Hey.
Yes, when are we going to the moon?
I mean, yeah. Do you have a question for the project?
Yeah, I need money to pay my rent. I need to go to the moon, man. All my money's invested.
Yeah. You need
Yes,
money to
come
pay
on,
the.
man. I need positive energy.
I mean, we're very positive. We have a lot of very positive energy. Every day I wake up tap dancing out of my bed because of Unimoon.
Yes. Oh, that's a good deal. That's good.
That's good.
This is
Okay, thank you, man. I just wanted to hear that from you, man. Now I feel good, and now I'm gonna stay hodling for years, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, like we're, like I said, we're grinding on this,
Okay.
I'm doing this, because first of all, this deserves to exist.
Okay.
It's the natural progression for technology. This will happen whether people are ready for it or not, or want it to happen or not. This will eventually happen, and luckily for us, we're the ones doing it, and you guys are here riding with us. It's all
Okay.
very exciting because we're literally at the forefront of revolutionizing the way that we interact on the internet and use social media. But
Oh, that's good, man. Because I invested 10 BNB with my best friend, but he bailed out today, man. So I'm alone now at the Unimoon train.
yeah, I mean, it's this we've said from the very beginning, this isn't going to be an overnight project. We've
Yes.
been very specific. We've been very transparent that our application will be developed in about 4 months. So
Yes.
we've said from the beginning, we're showing more and more. We've added weekly updates. I'm giving everything to this community and this project right now.
Yes,
This is
that's
my
what I
number.
told him. But he bailed out. He just want.
That's okay. I don't. That's okay. Like it's okay. I
No,
don't.
I'm mad at him, man, because now I'm gonna be millionaire alone, man. So that's his problem.
This look like if you guys see value in having a decentralized social media network with a layer one blockchain that is the infrastructure to support that sort of decentralized social media network with decentralized cloud storage, with really the me and Carl and the rest of the team focusing on very specific details to create more of a unique value proposition for our product, for what we're doing as a decentralized social media network, then you guys don't need to really worry too much, because that's what we're building. We're committed and dedicated to delivering that. That's our focus. That's what we're doing right now. So
yeah.
Perfect. Good to hear, man. Now I feel good again. Now, take care, my man. Much love from Amsterdam. And
I'm happy.
we meet again.
I'm happy that you feel like that. But look, nothing's changed. Nothing's
Yes, I know.
changed.
Yes.
Like from 5 minutes ago till right now. We've said the same thing. We're just, the only difference now is that we are now closer than we were yesterday.
Okay, yes.
We are getting closer and closer and closer to shipping out this beast. And it's going to be a beast. Like, there are so many untapped potentials with what we're doing right now. But we have to stay focused. We have to stay focused on
exactly. Stay focused and hungry.
Since the beginning, we've said raising the funds is for the development. This is my number one priority, is developing the product. having enough funds to be able to create a very solid team that can focus on building out the products. This has been what I said since the very beginning, and we're doing it. I've stuck to the roadmap, and we're delivering that. We haven't changed course. We're only getting more focused, and we're only showing more transparency. We're showing more and more and more, and we have more updates for the community. And yeah, like if you guys see this level of transparency and you see the amount of work that we're putting and you guys see the updates that we're delivering, like if you guys have been here from the beginning, then you guys would see this. Like I said, I'm not saying that price isn't important. I'm not saying that price is not important. I'm saying it's not my focus. In any market, it's going to happen. There's always going to be peaks and troughs. It happens in every market. I see it every time. There's like this Wall Street cheat sheet, that's just been out since the beginning of time, since markets have existed, since stock markets have existed, and it applies to the cryptocurrency industry. And there's always going to be people that are going to buy at the peak. I mean, it just happens. Like most retail investors, they don't study a project. They don't read any sort of literature. They don't watch all these AMAs that we have available. They don't come in and ask questions. They don't pay attention to really what a project is doing, why they're doing it. What is the main goal of what we're doing? I mean, we've been very transparent and we're sticking to exactly what we've said we're doing. So, it's unfortunate that there are people that buy at the peak, and then it's up to you if you want to sell at any point in time.
As long as you don't sell, you don't make loss. Just hold and believe in the project, and then everything is going to be all right.
That's why we're here. That's why we're doing these weekly updates. That's why I'm here taking time on a Friday to be able to show as much as we can to the community to make sure that you guys know that we are dedicated and committed to delivering everything that we've said and what we've talked about since the beginning, since the pre-sale, since the private sales. And we are on track. The only thing that's changed is that we're getting closer and closer and closer. I know like people come in and like it, people say like, what's going on with the price? It's, to be quite honest, like the entire market is dropping and people are losing patience, or some people just maybe they just don't see the work that we're actually putting in. So we are going to deliver the products. We are 100% for a fact that we are going to ship out Unimoon, and 100% for a fact we're going to ship a layer 1 blockchain Unimoon. 100%. It's already being done, and we are getting closer. So 100% for a fact, this is gonna get done. And we're about just a few months away. It might get delayed. It might. It might. This is technology. This is software. We need to make sure that we can test it. That when we migrate, there aren't any issues. That when people are using the application, the wallet and within Unimoon application is safe. When people are minting an NFT, that they're actually going to get proper ownership, and that's going to be tracked within our blockchain. Like, we need to check all this stuff. This isn't something that we just whip out overnight. Like, there's a lot that goes to this. There's a lot of process that goes into this, but we are working very, very hard. We want to deliver this as soon as possible. And obviously, the value, a lot of times is tied to the value / the price. Value and price is not always perfectly correlated, but a lot of times, like when something goes up in value, the price follows. And really, the value of this project is not bringing in Jake Paul talking about our project, for 15 seconds. It's being able to actually have a network where people are going to have ownership of their content, are going to be able to have privacy of their data, are going to be able to have a proper network that is going to be able to measure the human engagement and the amount of contribution and the amount of value that you put on the network. And collectively, this network will be governed and owned by the users. This is where the value is. This is what we are focusing on building out. And when the time comes, I'm not saying like 1 year after, we will light up the fireworks for as much visibility to our project as possible. But right now, as we've said from the very beginning, this focus is on development. So, I want to thank you guys. Like, I know in crypto, this is like 1 month feels like a year. So thank you guys for having that vision, sharing that vision with me and being here. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Like, I'm surprised, like some of you guys are, just regurgitating the actual light paper and you guys really follow along with some of the AMAs. Like, there's a few of you guys that I do notice, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for taking the time to really ask the right questions and to really like take time out of your day to study the content and to really study our project, to know what we're doing, to understand the potential here. So I want to thank you guys, those of you that are still here with us today. I will promise you guys that we are going to do this. We are going to deliver Unimoon. It's already on the way. It's just, we need to make sure that we have all the proper pieces in place to make sure that it's production ready, to make sure that once it's on the market, it's good. It's not, keep in mind, this is MVP. This isn't going to be, like the Lambo of the social media network like this, but this is going to be everything that we've said with the MVP. It's going to be able to measure the SAC, which is going to be the amount of value that you're contributing onto the network. It's going to distribute those rewards. It's going to share the content, and it's going to recommend you new pieces of content. So there will be this algorithm, our proprietary algorithm that we are developing, to be able to share the content on the network and to allow that virality for people to have proper incentive to be able to share and have that instant feedback loop to like, yeah, this worked or this didn't work, and to be able to have these rewards and engage with the network in a way that is going to be meaningful. So thank you, thank you guys. I've been here, and for those of you, like that, obviously those of you, there might be some that just sell out, and that's fine. Nothing's changed. Like, literally nothing's changed. Thank you, Trump, for jumping on, and I appreciate your words of encouragement, but it's nothing's changed from 1 month ago or 10 minutes ago or 10 seconds ago. We have a roadmap. We've been delivering the roadmap as we've planned. We're just be actually more, if anything, just looking to be more transparent, to give because we want to instill as much confidence within our community and show our appreciation of your patience. But we know that this is software. So you guys, I hope you guys understand, like, this isn't, something that you just whip out overnight. This is something that takes time and testing. But Carl has a really good background for this, and that's why he's a part of the team. So we're excited, we're developing, and we're going to deliver.
Yeah, and just something I want to add to what Dale said too is that, it's hard. Like I'm sure everybody's been in crypto a long time, right? In various degrees, right? I'm not new to crypto, obviously, but there's ups and downs. But a lot of crypto too. There's some ambitious projects in crypto. There's some very simple projects in crypto, right? Some of the most popular projects are just one smart contract or a few smart contracts with a proxy out. Like that is an entirely different set of capabilities and capacities required to compare to what we're doing. We're basically writing software, an entire software stack, the team is, right? Back-end services, front-end client application. We're not writing a website. That's not what this is. We're not writing a little Vue.js app that talks to MetaMask with Web3.js and then talks to Ethereum. That's not this, right? This is an entirely different caliber of project. We're writing native mobile apps, Swift and Kotlin. They are native, right? We're using the best of breed video SDK in the marketplace, so people will be able to do wild things with their recorded media, right? They'll be able to edit sound, layer and multi-track recording. Like this is not a crypto project. It is, right? But we want to hide a lot of the crypto capabilities from our end users, frankly. We want them to get the efficiencies, but we want to deliver a rock star social media experience first and foremost, right? The crypto stuff, frankly, on the back end and is fun. That's where I personally am going to have my fun, right? The front end stuff is fun, like the mobile app development, but that's a lot of ways a known quantity, right? That's been done literally hundreds of times. You can go out and find boilerplate social media apps on like Code Canyon and stuff like that. You can spend $300 and get something that half works, maybe, right? And it might do what it says, right? You don't know, right? But the proper way to do this is build our own social media app that is great, high performance, et cetera, goes through the normal development life cycle. And we want to get that going because that's something that we're hoping to maintain for years, right? And evolve and add features to. Once that's going, we get the blockchain piece, right? And frankly, there's blockchain projects out there that did their own L1s and things like that. They've been at it for 3, 4, 5 years. We're trying to cram it into 3 or 4 months, basically a calendar quarter, a little more. This is an entirely different caliber of project. I mean, fuck Solidity. That's not what we're doing, right? You can get a dog coin with a Solidity contract, and it has a $100 million market cap. That is not what we're doing at all. This is an entirely different caliber. It's a different league of ambitious project. And frankly, we're creating new software too with the algorithms. I don't know if it's going to get us what we want, frankly, right? We're going to buckle down and try like hell, right? And refine it and iterate over it, right? But we're trying to create new technology. But we got to start by gaining efficiencies with existing projects, bring them over, pick best of breed, bring it over, because we know we need these components. We need a back end. We need an L1. We need mobile apps. We're not going to go create our own phone. We're not going to, you've got Google or, with the Android platform, you've got iOS out there. We're not going to go create our own handset, right? But we gotta make smart decisions. Projects could, right, create their own phone, right, create their own mobile operating system, make it super tailored, right? You could do that. We're not doing that. We got to be smart and leverage best of breed. So we want the Apple ecosystem. We want the Android ecosystem. We want the best experiences there we can. We go over to the L1. We want the best experience we can. We looked at, early on, Dale looked at Polygon, right? So, or not Polygon, but we looked at Polkadot, right? And Substrate and creating a parachain just to accomplish what we wanted. I don't think that's the right approach. And then dove into Solana. And frankly, Solana has a novel consensus mechanism, right? It's not perfect. They had a pause for a day and a half, and they're in beta, and then they just had another recent issue. And frankly, it wasn't an issue, right? It was not a denial of service. It was just busy, right? And they're in beta. There's going to be Solana bugs, right? But we're hitching our horse to Solana, right? And we're going, as they evolve, we're going to get some of their benefit as well. But we got to get to the point of we're building our stuff, right? And we're almost there, right? We're building our own mobile app. That's already in flight. We've got the L1 fork. But there's stuff that needs to work with the L1 that we got to buckle down into. And that's the phase we're approaching internally right now. But this is an entirely different beast, right? Show me another blockchain project that has Jupyter notebooks flying around and PyTorch, POCs going, and TensorFlow POCs going. Show me that. I'm not aware of one out there. There's been some fringe experiments. This is not a crypto project, a traditional crypto project. This is like next generation kind of platform development, right? And we're standing on the shoulders of some giants, right? The Solana Foundation, and some other ecosystems out there. But that's what software does. So nobody writes a lot of libraries from scratch, right? That's a waste of time. You don't write your own crypto libraries. You don't write your own logging libraries. That's why Log4j is such a big issue, because it's been so stable for so long, right? And that was a big thing this week. But you make smart decisions and reuse, so that we can focus our attention and our efforts on the new, right? And the new might work, might not. We might have to refactor things, but we'll learn as we go, right? And at the end of the day, at the end of MVP, when we launch MVP, the community will have a mobile app. They'll have a platform, right? That will be there. We may want to improve it over the next year or two, or Lord willing, 5 years or 20 years, right? And build upon it. But that's what this is about right now, is getting there, lessons learned, improving, and driving forward.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that'll be our last for the AMA today. We have our weekly weekly updates. They're not AMAs. It's just Carl coming on for 10 minutes to provide a brief update in terms of what the development side we've accomplished for the week. But yeah, we're gonna have those weekly updates. For right now, we'll share with that within our Telegram group and on Twitter. But that would be, I think, every Monday we've set it for. Carl, what do you think? Every Monday, right?
Yeah, it's out there every Monday. And we'll post it, ahead of time, 24 hours or 48 hours ahead of time in the TG group. I kind of would like to, we'll talk with the internal team, and maybe we get like a calendar widget spun out there in the website or something to make it easy for people to find and locate. But yeah, we'll do 10 minutes. It's going to be me talking about boring stuff every week for 10 minutes. Last week went 20 minutes, but I'm going to set a hard timer for 10, just because there's so much going on, right, on a lot of fronts. So, but yeah, 10 minutes. If, people have questions in the TG group, again, our community team is what the rock stars, it looks like, right? I'm constantly impressed with them. They bubble up things that they don't have answers to, and I think we're great at getting feedback to the community. So keep the feedback coming.
Yeah. All right. So thank you today. We have our next AMA on January 7th, I believe, and we'll have our next weekly update Monday. So just in a few days. All right. Thank you guys for joining. We will see you guys on the next one. Thank you. Bye.